you know, just that this is the place that you come to get your weird reviews and just hear some uncensored words about a bottle. We're not trying to sell you.
We're just trying to sell you happiness.
We're just trying to sell you on us, the product nobody wanted.
We are nothing but misfits. I am not but a misfit. Just because we're weird, we'll never fit in. Pi without the E.
Pi without the E. 3.14. That's this.
And it goes on forever.
And check out the back of this. You don't see this very often in the videos.
I really like this bottle. I think it's a really wonderful bottle. I mean, in some way it kind of feels to me like it's a piece of pie. You know, just based off like the triangular shape of it all. It just kind of feels like that's what they're trying to emulate. I really like as Weston was showing, the cool architecture or sculpting, or I don't even know what it's supposed to be, but boy is it awesome. I mean, the juice color also really sells the smell too. I think the color of the juice goes along really well with the smell. Is the one thing I don't necessarily enjoy is I don't like this little, I don't know if you can see, but it kind of is like a little
I think that's fun. I hate that there's not a cap. Because in order to smell this, you have to spray it. Like, it's not one of those that you can pop the cap off. That's the same with any bottle where you're not going to have a full cap protecting it. If you can see the sprayer in the bottle or on the bottle without taking anything off of the bottle, you're never going to be able to spray it till you smell it. So if you want to be reminded of what this juice smells like, you're going to have to use some of it up.
Which is unfortunate.
Very unfortunate.
Part of the reason we chose to review this now is because it's prime fall-winter season, for us anyway, where we live, and Pi is perfect for this weather. It smells, in my mind, like you've been baking all day, but not in an overly sweet type, maybe baking with a lot of alcohol, but it doesn't necessarily smell boozy.
Yeah.
That's kind of the best way I can kind of think about it, is you've been drinking and cooking and this is kind of what you smell like. I think it's a really sophisticated smell. I don't think it is I think a younger person could wear it, but I think in order to pull it off really well, you definitely need to be more mature to wear it.
I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
I think a lot of vanilla fragrances get really cheapened by their use of vanilla and just kind of rely on vanilla to be the only note that's really projecting in there, and just kind of like try and sculpt the back end of the vanilla with whatever other notes are in there. So this is one of those fragrances that really has a lot of notes to it that actually do play a supporting cast role in the fragrance. For sure, this is the first one we bought together, and this is a staple of the collection, for sure. This one, along with Dior Homme Intense, were kind of the two very sophisticated designer fragrances that made it into my collection early on and helped me keep a nose out for kind of more sophisticated cold weather smells, because especially when you're early on in your journey, a lot of the cold weather smells just become sweet smells.
Pine.
Yeah, or sweet leather, or a sweet tobacco. No matter what you're doing, they just kind of become a gross, like...
We were talking about that today in the car, that, you know, when you started out, you didn't necessarily mind the sweet smells as much.
But now I really do.
Yeah, you prefer them. I mean, if they're sweet, they have to be sweet, but if they're sweetened, then then you're not as interested in that smell.
Like here you're getting benzoin and tonka bean that are sweetening it up, but it's not a tonka bean that you're usually used to in other fragrances that give it a heavy sweetness, because they're matched and paired up with almond at the top, and I would consider the vanilla not to be a sweetened vanilla in this fragrance, because the sweetness comes from other places, but rather there's a bunch of stuff in the base like tarragon and rosemary and a lot of other herbal notes that are trying to weigh down the rest of the sweetness that's coming into play. So it does, when she talks about it smelling like you're baking stuff all day, it really does smell that way, because it's not just a vanilla fragrance, but it smells like spices, and it smells like kind of like a dream kitchen, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I really enjoy the smell. Again, as we kind of said, it's our first one that we bought together, so it might be for part of a sentimental reason, but I think I would give this a 9.3. Oh, sorry, a 9314. As a score out of 10. What about you?
I'd give it a 10 out of 10. I think Pi is one of those fragrances that's just unbeatable. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's a bunch of other vanilla fragrances out there that do vanilla really well. And that's not so much what I'm talking about as I'm just talking about Pi is one of those fragrances that just goes out of its way. You can categorize it as a vanilla fragrance for sure, but it doesn't become something where you're looking for a vanilla fragrance to do this better. I really don't think that you're thinking about, you're smelling this and you're going, oh, this reminds me of these 12 other vanilla fragrances that I've tried. It's not like that.
No. So as we hinted, it's definitely a winter fall. I think it'd be weird to wear it any other time. I feel that both genders could potentially wear this too.
Oh, for sure.
I also feel that this will be a daytime, nighttime. I feel like as a date, you could easily wear this going into work. You could easily wear this going to Christmas Mass or Hanukkah service. I don't know what that's called, but Hanukkah service. I feel like either would definitely, all of the above would work for this.
Yeah. And I think this is one of those that is super sophisticated, but unlike like Dior Homme Intense, where you do have to be kind of wearing it with kind of like the fragrance in mind to where you're wearing it. This is just one when it gets colder, just start going at it. It doesn't really matter when you're spraying it on. It's going to smell good no matter what, and nobody's going to be like, you smell like you don't fit in the clothes that you're wearing, you know?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Okay, the really tough question here, though, because this is a really tough one. Who's wearing it?
Again, not necessarily a smell that this character would spray on, but maybe what their personality embodies, or maybe a little bit of both, would be John Watson from the Sherlock Holmes series, and pretty much any version of him. Because I think, in contrast to Sherlock, that this is why I'm thinking of it, is
That's fair.
Sophisticated, especially maturity-wise, often in comparison to Sherlock, and as well as a little friendlier, and the smell is a friendly, sophisticated sort of smell. I don't know, that's the first character that came to my mind, but I think Dr. John Watson, any version of him, would wear this, or smell like it.
That's nice.
And what about you?
That's nice. I would, so I'm going silly a little bit.
I love silly.
But I would say that it's the goose. The goose is loose. Ryan Gosling in Crazy Stupid Love. The goose is loose.
Yes.
I would say so.
Oh gosh, yes.
Because people would probably think of him as wearing La Nuit de l'Homme, because everybody in the grandma's like, oh, it's the ultimate day fragrance. It's the panty dropper. Everybody loves it. You want to spray it on your wiener. It's gross. But I would say that La Nuit de l'Homme seems a little too unwise for the goose. I think that the goose would pick Pi, because I believe that Pi is a little more of a, he's been at it a while, he's been in the game, he knows what he's doing.
That's fair.
Because if you're doing YSL's La Nuit de l'Homme, you know either he's carrying a travel atomizer around with him, which the goose wouldn't do, because that's unkempt.
The goose wouldn't do that.
Or he's got the old vintage bottle, and I don't think he cares enough about it to get that. I don't think he actually gives a fuck about it other than to seduce people. Truly.
See, I even think that he would still wear this when he's settled down with...
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah, I think it'd be something he would wear the entire length of the movie.
My point is just that that's his fragrance. He's the goose. The goose is loose.
The goose is loose.